Hi everybody, welcome back to Life Skills 2.0. As you know, we've had to kind of revamp how we do life skills, but we're kind of getting on a roll, and this is week 2. So this week we're going to talk a little bit about isolation. And of course, isolation can happen to anyone at any time for a variety of reasons, but how we handle that, that's the important thing. Using the things that are trials in our life to move forward, I think that's really beneficial. So we're going to hear from a few of our folks who work here at Rogue Retreat, and we'll actually hear from a participant, and we're just going to kind of explore that topic of isolation, and maybe you'll hear some good solutions to maybe some isolation that you've been experiencing. So take a listen, and we'll talk to you later. Terry, wake up.
What?
It's time to do your thing for life skills.
Oh no, it's life
Yeah,
skills time
right here.
again.
Yep. Say hi to the
Oh,
people.
hi people.
There you go.
It's time for life skills, and my name's Terry, and I'm the women's case manager. I was at the apartments, and I just switched for a little bit with Cindy, so now I'm at Hope Village. And I just wanted to talk about a little bit of the coronavirus and how it has affected people and what we can do to try and cope with it better. I know for a lot of people it's been very hard to get things done, especially on the levels, because DMV's closed, Social Security, Housing Authority, all these important places that you need to go to get things done. They've either been closed or you have to call for an appointment, and it's just been quite the process. But we are telling people, don't give up. This won't last forever. Things will be back open again. And we encourage people to reach out either with your neighbors. You're all in the same boat, so neighbors can encourage neighbors. I know a lot of people are going to the Recovery Cafe that offers multiple types of meetings. If you're not familiar with that, I would check that out. It's actually called the Rogue Cafe on Main Street. It's also been a challenge for those with mental health issues. A lot of people don't care for talking to their mental health care worker on the phone. It's not the same as in person, but we just really have to try our best to adapt to these circumstances and keep reminding ourselves it won't be forever. I know me personally, every summer I fly to St. Louis to visit my beautiful daughter, and I haven't been able to do that. So we've been duoing on the phone where I can see her and she can see me. There's also, as far as here at work, we've been doing our meetings with each other, our staff meetings on Zoom. Anybody can open a Zoom account and get your whole family on there. It's just really important to take walks. I know with the heat and the coronavirus, that may not sound appealing, but maybe first thing in the morning. Get out in the fresh air, see people walking their dogs. I know me, just to see people walking their dogs cheers me up. There's something about animals that's good for humans. And the most important thing is, if you're feeling really stressed or really depressed, reach out. Let us know. We're always here to talk to. That's what we're here for. And that's the best advice I could offer is try not to isolate. Reach out. Try and think positive thoughts. Get some sort of self-care going, whatever that may look like for you. And we're all in this together, so that's the advice I have to offer for today. Thank you for listening. Hope to see you all in person on our Monday night meetings again soon.
Hi, my name is Michelle De Leon, and I'm a participant with Rogue Retreat, and I'm talking today about some ways that I have found to beat isolation. The first thing that I'd like to say is that, it's okay to not be okay. You know, during this time of uncertainty, we're all going through uncertain things every single day. And if you have a day where you just don't feel that great, it's okay, because, you know, there's always tomorrow, and tomorrow may change things around for you. What I've been doing to beat isolation is, you know, it's really important to follow some semblance of a routine. And I like to say that that starts with getting up, dressing up, and showing up. Show up for your own life, you know. Get yourself out of bed at a regular time. Get yourself to bed at a regular time. And dress up, you know. Dress for the day and meet it with whatever you have to give, and I promise that it'll change around for you. Some things that I've been doing are if you can reach back maybe into your past, a time when you were creative. You know, maybe you did some painting or some drawing, or maybe even cooking specialty dishes that no one else can even cook. For me, it was poetry, and I had found that it was a good way to get my feelings down on paper and release any anxiety or tension with what has been going on. And I actually brought a little poem to share today, and it is called Life. And this is how it goes. What is the meaning of life? Is it cuddled up in quilt spaces or wide open places, glittered with wildflowers showing all of their faces? Or an endless giggle of a child, or just a safari of animals in the wild? And don't forget the breeze on your face at the beach, nor the juicy drippings of a very nice peach. In the end and through it all, life is what you make it. So reach out and take it, and enjoy the ride, and never let go. Otherwise, you'll never know the meaning of life. That's just one little poem that I wrote. I wrote a couple more, and the last thing that I want to say is that it's really important to move your body in some way, you know, to try to go for an early morning walk, to do some yoga, which is, in my mind, is just glorified stretching. You know, get your body moving, because movement is medication, and it's really good for you to do something out of the norm. I would just encourage you to reach out to loved ones, to people you know. I've started writing to people in nursing homes, to reach out by a text, a phone call, and that also makes me feel connected. So I just hope that some of these tips help somebody out there, and I hope you have a really great day.
Hi, I'm Margarita with the Kelly Shelter. I manage and oversee the staff and the 54 guests that we serve. Today I'm here to talk to you about some of the challenges we had with COVID and our shelter guests isolating, as well as our staff. And so one of the things that we did to help keep our shelter safe was we sheltered in place for a couple of months, and it caused a lot of isolation for our shelter guests. So they started isolating, and depression was part of the shelter story. And so as a staff, we came up with some ideas to enhance the positive energy in the shelter. And so what we did was we enclosed our entire back parking lot, and we allowed our shelter guests to hang out back there. They were able to play games. They were able to throw the football around, exercise, ride bikes. We did lots of arts and crafts, painting, gardening. We also still coordinated with our outreach agencies, and we had people still going into detox because sheltering in place, we noticed that detox was kind of on the rise, and so we wanted to help them that way. We also worked with OnTrack and getting people to do outpatient and Zoom meetings, and it was very challenging. And so we learned lots of lessons during that time that have carried over into the way we run our shelter today. So we're currently back open, and our shelter guests are still engaging in the services that we provided for them while we were sheltered in place. They're still able to use the back parking lot and hang out and do fun things back there. We have a sprinkler now back there. So during the time that we were sheltered in place, we have realized that diet is a huge, important part of your health. And so we weren't providing lunches before we sheltered in place. And so when we sheltered in place, we provided breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And now that we're back open, our shelter guests are able to realize that they need to be eating well, exercising, and taking care of their mental health and their recovery, and also self-care is really important. We learned a lot through COVID, and we continue to learn, and we're doing the best that we can.
Hi there, my name is Kathy Marcoux, and I'm a case manager at the Kelly Shelter. So I see individuals after they've been there 7 days. And I wanted to talk a little bit about isolation, and initially the COVID caused the isolation in their shelter, and we saw some individuals really begin to struggle with the isolation, and so we started identifying that. So what we do in case management is we call people in and we talk to them. We identify some of the barriers that they have, some of the challenges that they have, and then we talk about, you know, self-care and how if you're feeling isolated, you know, what you can do in those times. I mean, right now it's COVID, but it can be anything, and people can feel isolated. And so we talk about, you know, what you do when you feel isolated. We talk about self-care. I identify with people the things that they like to do for themselves, the things that they enjoy. A lot of our individuals, you know, self-care, what's that? So we really start at the basics. And another thing that, you know, we do as staff is we model. You know, we're also affected by this COVID, and we model kind of what we do for self-care. So how it impacted me personally is it just kind of interrupted my exercising and the things that I would do to take care of myself. And so for the first month, I wasn't doing that, and I really had to take a look at that and get back on track, taking walks, doing other things at home. So that's one of the things we do in case management, if we just talk about self-care and what we do. What we were seeing initially was a lot of irritability, some depression, and just pretty much isolating to their bunks or not getting along with others. And we had games available, and arts and crafts, and books, and so we just really focus on what self-care looks like for each individual. Sleep, good diet. So yeah, that's what we do.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Covarrubias, and I am one of the case managers for Rogue Retreats Kelly Shelter. And during this pandemic, it really just caused a lot of our guests to be sheltered in place. Actually, the whole shelter was sheltered in place. And what that meant was that nobody could leave. If they did leave, they had to be staff assisted and go out on breaks to the store only. So being isolated in the shelter really just caused everybody to really kind of get along. It forced everybody into learning how to communicate better. It forced everybody to learn to just enjoy the little luxuries in life, watching movies together, good conversation, and loving each other. Isolation for me forced me into being at home for a whole month, and so this also allowed me to just really take a look at the way that I was interacting with my family, and just take the time to really read and journal and gain new tools to be able to be a more effective mother, a more effective leader. So that was really cool. I spent a lot of time, like I said, reading and journaling, reading self-help books, and just putting those into practice. So it was a great time and learning experience for me as well as the shelter folks. So I just want to encourage you all to get up and reach out, get outside, and yeah, just be encouraged. We're all growing together through this, and let's just support each other. So stay sober and be well.
Hey, what's up? We've kind of stopped caring here, but whatever. This is what sitcoms would sound like if they were written during quarantine. Here we go. Look at what happened to me. I'm not taking care of myself. I haven't shaved in the last 3 days, and I ate all the chips on the shelf.
isolation sucks. It's complete opposite of recovery. And in recovery, we need that connectiveness. Being isolated because of these times, it's imperative that you reach out. Because it's like when you're isolated for too long, what it starts to do to our psyche and what it does to our recovery, it lets the addiction pop its ugly head. So if you need some help, we want to be there for you in all aspects. So just give us a call, and we will come and we will reach out to you. We will keep you integrated into our program, and we will be just there for you. That's what creating relationships is all about. Okay? Come and see us or give us a call. We're at 711 East Main, Suite 14, and our phone number is 541-245-4673. Give us a call. Like to hear from you. Thank you. Bye.
So the question is, how has isolation affected me in the past? I was thinking about that. I was thinking about a time when I had hit a roadblock, and in fact I isolated myself. I isolated in my home, and I did that for like 5 years. But I'll tell you what, over that 5 years, I found myself getting really anxious. I found myself getting angry, and as I did, I isolated more instead of. And you know what got me out of it was I started doing something for other people. I started going down and volunteering down at Set Free, and I found out I liked that, and I found out that people weren't so bad, and that I did still have some self-worth. And so and that developed into more and more of me coming back to who I really am. But then this COVID thing has been a little bit different. It's isolation. It wasn't so much being self-isolated, doing that to myself. It was more of this disease doing it to us and shutting us down. And one more time, I found myself sitting at home, and I was off for the month of April, and I began getting anxious. It wasn't about 2 or 3 weeks into it. I began getting anxious, and I was anxious about what to expect. What can I do? Everything's closed. I've got these things to do, and you can't do anything, and you can't do anything about it. And that lasted on through May, but I had an operation in May, so it wasn't too hard to stay by myself. But I think about the people over at Hope Village, and they've been going through the same thing when COVID hit, because then, we send them out to get their licenses and to get their IDs and to, get Social Security and meet with the options and get their health care in order. They can't do it. It's closed. What are they going to do? These people, they come from a homeless background, and so they're out there living on the Greenway or in tents or in vehicles, and they have everybody telling them what to do all the time. The cops tell them you can't park here, you can't sleep here, you can't do this, you can't do that. This is a society frowning on them frequently. And so then this COVID thing hits. They come to Hope Village and they get this hope that things are going to turn around for them, and then COVID hits. And one more time, they're being told, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't progress in your life, you're stuck. And so that's depressing. And talk about depression, the anxiety I talked about earlier, that led me into depression. That was a deep depression I went into. And so I see that. I see that on these people over at the village, that they sit around wondering what's next. What can I do? And I see some depression setting in. Well, then things started opening up again a little bit, and so they were able to get out a little bit, and so that helped a lot. But I also see a number of them going out and volunteering because there's nothing else to do. and I see them coming back feeling with some self-worth and feeling good about themselves, feeling good that they did do something, that they were welcome somewhere. And so that has helped, and that to me is the biggest solution of all when it comes to isolation and feeling isolated and getting anxious, and anxiety unaddressed turns to anger, anger unaddressed turns to depression. It's a downhill struggle all the way. You got to turn it around somewhere. And I found out that by getting out of yourself and doing what you can for other people is a good answer to help start the process of turning that around.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donnie Harper, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about isolation. So for me, isolation can be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on where you're at in your recovery. If you are new in recovery, I suggest that you try to break away from the isolation, because it doesn't allow you to have bridges to other accesses or whatever, like you would want to say, to finding solutions to problems, right? Being stuck by yourself can allow you to, come up with probably not the right ideas how to fix things, So yeah, early recovery, I would definitely say find a support team, reach out. If you don't got a sponsor, get one. Reach out to your case manager, other people in the program. Reach out to Scotty and Susie down there at FFR. They are great avenues. So I would say if you got a little bit of time under your belt, I think it's important to make time for yourself, because before you are capable of giving too much of yourself to other people, you got to be okay with who you are today. For me, I have a pretty good job, and I'm surrounded by people every day, and recovery is my number one goal. I go to work to help people, and in turn that helps me. I have a support system, I have a sponsor, I do my steps, but most important, I do find time for myself. There's a difference between isolation and doing internal self-work on myself, right? So at the end of the day, I don't feel the need to have a bunch of friends or people around me. That's my me time, and that works for me. It may not work for you. But yeah, I would suggest if you're going through some struggles right now early on in recovery and you're feeling alone, don't isolate, because it can damage you. And yeah, so anyways, I hope you got a little bit out of what I had to say. Isolation is bad, and community is good, and you guys have a great day. Thanks.
We learned in our last video, Your Brain on Social Distancing, that we're not built to be alone, and that the longer we feel lonely, the more our bodies start to break down mentally, emotionally, and physically. Whether you're social distancing all by yourself or with a partner or family members, the COVID-19 pandemic has surely made your social interactions much fewer. Whatever your situation is, it's totally understandable to feel lonely. We feel it too. Here are 3 tactics to help you in the fight against loneliness. 1. Recognize your loneliness for what it is. Loneliness, like hunger or thirst, is a natural way for your body to tell you it needs something. Connection. You are not sensitive or weak. You're a human, a social creature. So take your feelings of loneliness seriously and objectively, just like you would for feelings of hunger or thirst. 2. Be vulnerable with at least one person. Pick someone who you can confide in and who can confide in you. Connect regularly via video calls or over the phone. It can be scary to talk about your feelings, but you'll both find that it's a great remedy for loneliness. 3. Be part of something bigger than yourself. Participating in greater society is critical for feeling connected. Thanks to technology, you can connect to something bigger without leaving your home. Consider finding a cause or nonprofit to follow and support. Lastly, we want you to know that you're not alone in your loneliness. In fact, this is one of the rare times in history that people all around the world, of all different cultures, languages, socioeconomic groups, are experiencing the same thing together. We have more great videos coming your way, so be sure to click subscribe. For more content and resources to stay happy, healthy, and connected, visit closersocialdistancing.com. Help us get the word out about combating loneliness. Share this video on your social media or with a friend who might be struggling.
So, wow, a lot of stuff about isolation, and I've heard a lot of solutions in what was offered. So something that I think about is when you're feeling isolated and alone, think about what your feelings are. It's helpful to identify whether you're feeling lonely or bored, maybe depressed or anxious. Maybe you have a real sense of fear about what's going to happen. And I think it was Jennifer who talked about kind of the positive things that she did, almost like it was a relief and a start over period for her. So those are good things to think about. What are the feelings that you're feeling? And then try to identify the beliefs that surround those feelings. So maybe you have some, they call them thinking errors. Some common thinking errors are, one is generalization, saying what is now is always going to be and there's no hope. Or personalization, taking something that wasn't meant as a slight against you and taking it really personally. I know I've not received very many hugs lately, and it's hard not to take that personally because I really, really love getting hugs. But sometimes the mind kind of plays tricks on you, and then you start feeling so much more alone because, gosh, nobody hugged me. But it's really not about you. What about polarization? It's either black or white. It's either right or wrong. And sometimes there are gray areas in the middle. And when we can't see those, our feelings can kind of go off in a direction that's not helpful. We can also magnify things, magnification, making something into something really huge when really it's a smaller issue. And sometimes that happens when you've had a lot of trauma. So watch for things like that because it'll help you to identify how to deal with those feelings. So whenever you have those feelings and those maybe those thinking errors, it can lead to hopelessness. It can lead to kind of the fight or freeze. Can lead to inactivity, just not knowing what to do next. It can make you feel very powerless. And for some folks, it has led to relapse. So we don't want those things to happen, right? We want to use that resilience that we're building, and we want to take those feelings and process them in a healthy way. It might be by journaling. It might be any number of things. Writing poetry can be any number of healthy things. Self-care, just great healthy things that you can do for yourself. So in closing, I want to share a quote with you. St. Augustine defined hope as having two beautiful daughters, one named courage and the other named anger. So the one that's named anger she's angry at the way things are, but courage is the courage to do something about it and to change what is reality for you. So I hope that helps you. If you're experiencing that loneliness of isolation, please stop by, get with your case manager. Anybody from here is very, very willing to talk to you. And we just want you to stay healthy and happy. And we will see you next time. Have a great week.